Welcome everybody to Marketing Management, Chapter 5, CRM, Big Data, and Marketing Analytics. Tonight, our learning objectives are define CRM and articulate its objectives and capabilities. We already did that through videos last week. You'll check in the Canvas program. Describe the CRM process cycle, understand the concept of customer touchpoints and why they're critical in customer relationship management, CRM. Identify and appreciate the types of data used in marketing management decision making, recognize key approaches to marketing analytics, understand the concept of dashboard and how it improves marketing planning for a firm. So the objectives and capabilities of customer relationship management. So a comprehensive business model for increasing revenues and profits by focusing on customers. The more you focus on customers, the more they feel they're being cared for, the more they feel like you understand them. So if you have computer programs that are able to track the likes and dislikes of customers and understand their nuanced thinking and behaviors, you will then succeed. So no one department owns CRM, everyone benefits from it. It must have support of senior management, cuts across the entire organization, but most used by marketing, sales, and customer service. In other words, like we just said in the previous bullet, it's used by everyone and drives the firm to customer-centric behavior. In other words, you care more about the customer. Slide number 4. So objectives of CRM is customer acquisition, which will be the acquisition of right customers based on known or learned characteristics that will drive growth and increase revenue. And basically, it's kind of like a match. You talk about a match, husband and wife, or actually increase profit margin. Yes. In the sense that there are certain customers that are too, I don't want to use the word needy, but for lack of a better term, they're too needy. They take up too much of your time, too many assets. And, later on we're going to use a term called firing. Mainly, do we fire the customer? I know it sounds crazy getting rid of customers, but in a sense, sometimes that's necessary when a customer is not the right mix. The customer is just taking up too much of your resources, so you may want to get rid of them.
I had that at work once where I had to spend like an hour on the phone with the customer who never ended up buying anything, but I had to just keep saying okay because I thought we were going to get business from her, and I listened to her whole life story. So then we had to just ignore her phone calls, and she would call 100 times a day.
Yeah, they were. That's a bored soul. Somebody would just, need someone to talk to. You're not their armchair psychologist. Understood. Customer retention of satisfied and loyal, profitable customers and channels, and thus to grow the business profitably over the long run. Customer profitability, increase individual customer margins while offering the right products at the right time. And again, in order to do that, you need to have the right customer type that will fit into your framework of what you're doing. Customer satisfaction and loyalty. Customer satisfaction means that the offering meets or exceeds the customer's expectations. Customer loyalty implies repeat purchases, high satisfaction, high level of perceived value, strong relationships with the brand, and it's ever so hard to retain customer loyalty. Customer lifetime value. Relationship pays off in terms of customer savings, revenue growth, profit referrals. Down below over here, just in the instructor notes, one of the most important metrics in CRM is the customer lifetime value. Frederick Reichheld, in his books on customer loyalty, has demonstrated time and again that investment in customer relationship management yields more successful long-term relationship with customers, and that these relationships pay handsomely in terms of cost savings, revenue growth, profits, referrals, and other important business success factors. It is possible to actually calculate and estimate the projected financial returns for a customer or return on customer investment. So in other words, you're able to know, just look at the return on investment and investment banking and whatnot, you will be able to see how much that customer will bring in for you, especially over the lifetime that customer is with you. So if you lose a customer, you're not just losing a customer now, you're losing them now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're losing them, you're losing their family members that may have. Just think of a leasing company. Let's say you have a leasing company that has a tremendous customer base and the customers love them. then their friends will lease from there, their family members will lease from them. It's like a doctor's office also. You have a popular doctor's office. You have a couple of poor patients that start off with a doctor. They tell their friends, who tell their friends, who tell their families, and that's how businesses grow. So this analysis provides a very strategic tool for deciding which customers deserve what levels of investment of various resources, such as money, people, time, information. Proliferation on return on customer investment has raised the prospects of firing a customer, as I mentioned before, who exhibits a low predicted lifetime value. In other words, as the slide says, return on customer investment can be calculated to determine if the fire should fire a customer. It's not really fire, if the company should fire a customer. In other words, whether or not that customer should be told, listen, it's not you, it's me. We're not able to successfully handle your request. So you're better off going somewhere else and finding someone to help you. Process cycle for customer relationship management. You have learning, which then leads to action. We have, let's just start from the right, knowledge discovery, marketing planning, customer interaction, analysis, and refinement. Okay, let's move on. Phase 1, knowledge discovery, customer touchpoints, point of sale systems, call center files. Right, the files that generate by call centers, those are the areas that receive phone calls, internet access, direct selling contracts, other customer contact. A data warehouse contains all information about touch points. And basically, touch points is anywhere where the company touches the customer in some way, whether it's a phone interaction, whether it's through some other data-driven process. So customer touch points, point of sale systems, call center files, internet access, direct selling, contacts, and other customer contact. A data warehouse contains all information about touch points. Data mining uses massive amounts of data collected through customer relationship management to develop segments and microsegments, which is basically a filtration, a downward filtration after you develop a marketing segment. So data mining, just like somebody mines for gold, mines for ore, mines for coal, you mine for data. You mine your own internal files, external files, etc. Database marketing is the creation of lists to reach different kinds of segments. And these things lead to more complex things we're not going to talk about tonight, which is algorithms, which are mathematical formulas that basically try to have some sort of predictive value where they could kind of figure what you'd be interested in. If anybody's ever bought on Amazon, we all buy on Amazon, I suppose. There'll always be some sort of blur on the bottom. People like you bought things like this. So you bought, I don't know, let's say I bought a fishing rod. I like fishing. So let's say I bought a fishing rod and a reel. So they'll have a little thing on the bottom that says, okay, here's your fishing rod, here's your reel, here's your fishing string, here are your worms fishing, and here are your hooks. And these are the things that basically one would utilize. This is the way Amazon would drive more business, by telling you that, hey, I'm interested in different kinds of things. And they kind of suggest things. So let's talk about phase 2 to 4 CRM phases. Marketing planning phases use the key use of output from the knowledge discovery phase, develops the marketing mix strategy, which is the use of the 4 Ps: product, price, place, and promotion. Customer interaction phase is the implementation of the customer strategies and programs, includes personal selling and other customer-directed interactions aimed at the various touch points, the areas where we touch customers. Analysis and refinement is where organizational learning takes place. Organizational learning occurs based on customer responses to implemented strategies. So the organization learns about the likes and dislikes of the customer. Think of it as a marketing research in the form of continuous dialogue with customers, especially in terms of interaction on the website, leaving messages on the website, understanding the clicks, when customers click in on a website, tarry times, how long they hang out on a certain area in the website. These are things that the organization can learn from in order to better improve the customer reaction and the customer interaction. With such ongoing commitment and capabilities related to customer research, continuous adjustments made to the firm's overall customer initiatives should result in more efficient investment of resources and increasing return on customer investment, which is so important. And all of this is really leaning towards a philosophy, a direction of let's satisfy the customer centricity, being customer centric, which is so vital. Interactive touchpoints are two-way and have direct interface between customers and the Salesforce telemarketer, customer service rep, or interactive website. Non-interactive touchpoints are static, such as direct mail or website data entry form, which are very, very unidimensional, not much going on, not as robust. Slide 11, we talk more in detail customer touchpoints, considerations. Where are all the potential touchpoints? What are specific objectives for information collected at each touchpoint? And what's the website supposed to pick up? What's the app that interacts with people on smartphones supposed to pick up? How will information be collected and integrated into customer databases? How are we going to store it? How are we going to analyze it? How are we going to break it down? What kind of policies will govern how the information will be accessed and used internally? Who's going to have access to what? Who's going to be given the responsibility of mining that data? Who's going to collate that data? How are we going to collate that data? How are we going to put it into reports? How is that information going to lead into the marketing dashboard, that little ribbon on top of your computer screen, which gives you all the real-time information? You know, a dashboard is like, for example, you can have it on your computer where you have, let's say, the stock market, the weather, different things that are going on that you'd want to have in front of you. The same thing would hold true for marketing dashboard. You have all the different things that go on with marketing popping up on your computer to give you real-time data. Regulation of customer information. Sensitive customer information like social security numbers has led to many heavy regulations. There have been data leaks. For example, Target had a massive compromising of their credit cards, which led to different data leaks. Firms must tell customers how that information should be used and allow them to opt out. In other words, you have this, you could always opt out of giving that information. Firms need, and basically you have this, when you plug your phone into your computer, it asks you, do you want to allow the computer to access your files, your contacts, and this and that. You have a right to say yes, and you have a right to say no. Google will ask you, do I have a right to, have access to your phone, access to your files? You may say yes, and you may say no. Firms need to be aware of potential for abuse. Customers must feel they can trust firms to protect sensitive information. Marketers can use the firm's security strategy to build loyalty to the brand. The more secure a site is, the more secure a company is, the more likely you'll have return business because people feel confident and comfortable. When Wells Fargo was implicated a couple of years ago in fraud, I can tell you for a fact many people left Wells Fargo, which is a company that's been around for over 100 years, because people just didn't feel they could trust them, didn't feel that this was a legit company that they could, invest with. Customer-centric culture. Formalizing means that structure, process, and tools and managerial knowledge and commitment are formally established in support of the culture. It's pervasive. It's throughout the entire culture. Everything is all about, let's have good process. Let's have tools at our disposal. Let's have knowledge base that will help us make good decisions. Customer mindset means all employees see both internal and external customer satisfaction as being a central focal point. Firms with a customer orientation place the customer at the core of all aspects of the firm. We're not doing a market. We're not just doing a production orientation where the company just produces what it thinks it should produce. We care about the market, meaning we care about what the customers want. Instill a firm-wide focus on understanding customer requirements. Make sure that all employees understand the customer marketplace and its variables, understand the marketing research, understand the consumer behavior that comes along with it. Align system capabilities internally so that the firm offers innovative, competitively differentiated, satisfying products and services. In other words, you want your product or service to have aha to it. You want people to say, wow, that's amazing, that's so different, that's unique. If you're not unique, you will not survive in today's day and age. You want somebody to walk down that cereal aisle and you want your box of cereal to scream out at them, take me, buy me, use me, eat it, taste it, it's delicious. Otherwise, it's just going to sit there like everything else and just collect dust. Customer mindset. All employees believe that understanding customers, external or internal, is central to doing a good job. Big data. The ever-increasing quantity and complexity of data being continuously produced by technological sources, as we mentioned in the first video, such as laptops, smartphones, and other smart devices. We have 4 V's that we mentioned already in the video, so I'm not going to spend so much time on it. I'll put a link to the video on Canvas. Volume is the amount of data produced in bytes, and we saw there were ridiculous amounts of that produced by healthcare entities. Velocity, the frequency and speed of analysis. Variety, different types of data. And veracity, how reliable and how valid is that data. Without reliable and reliable data, you can't make real decisions. Big data helps marketers better understand customer behavior. Value is considered the fifth V by some managers. Allows marketing managers to identify experiences of customers in the purchasing process, customers' touch points, how customers interact and experience different products and services. This way you're better able to reach different segments of the market and properly service them. We have structured versus unstructured data. We mentioned this also in the video. Just to quickly recap, structured, it generates logical organization, easy to categorize, numeric, or text limited to certain input values. In other words, male, female. Very numeric in nature. Unstructured is more the touchy-feely stuff. First, the data is generated in such a way that it does not possess a specific organizational structure that renders it readily analyzable for knowledge creation. Unstructured data may not be immediately actionable. It has to be basically, manipulated in the way that structured data is, but it has become the most common form of data available to organizations and a potentially rich source of deep insight on customer behavior and customer-provider relationships. So therefore, it gives you the soft underbelly of why people are doing the things that they're doing. Think of it as the information that we gather in a focus group. The stuff that we gather in a focus group is all the emotional stuff, why people do things. So unstructured is not specific to organizational structure. It's a rich source of customer insights. You can get this by comments on the website, comments on social media, and various points of interaction that kind of color in this beautiful picture and make things more valuable. In other words, you're able to understand the why behind things. Of course, you need to have the numbers. You need to have the metrics. Okay, we need to have X amount of yeses and nos and males and females and age groups and whatnot. But you also have to have the information behind that, explaining why things are the way they are. Slide 19, categories of big data. We also have something called semi-structured data. This is very technical. It fits between structured and unstructured data in the sense that it contains some elements of structure that make it easier for machines to understand. So it has some numbers and yeses and nos and quantifiable things, but still contains parts that do not possess an appropriate level of structure to make them readily analyzable by automated means for knowledge creation. Semi-structured data does not readily adhere to strict sets of standards. A typical example for web would be an XML file, a certain type of file which contains tags that provide a degree of organization to the data and offer some meaning to it, some semantic, some word meaning to it. But additional effort is required to create structured data from these files so that the output can be stored in a manner that enables a wider range of analysis. So it's a mix between numbers and semantics and words to kind of give you this holistic approach to marketing data. Slide 20 talks about big data sources, business systems, social media platforms, internet connected devices, mobile apps, rich source, commercial entities, government entities, and with mobile apps you see who's downloading it. That's very important. If you go to the Google Play Store, you can gain access and understand how many people have downloaded this product, what kind of people. You can actually build profiles and understand the types of people and groups that are interested in your product. So CRM systems are often the central hub of data and can integrate with other applications. It gives you, as I mentioned, a holistic view of the customer, not a unidimensional perspective, but a holistic one. Points of sale systems and online transactions. Processing systems help determine a customer's relative value and which offerings would appeal to the customer. Web-related activity, every action of a customer is captured in a web log. So it's kind of scary. People know where you go. If you spend a lot of time on the internet and you are a public individual, that data can haunt you. The websites you visit, if you talk about if you really want to get down and dirty and look at websites that people visit, if you got a web log of either Biden or Trump, you can have a field day either way. Oh, he went to this website, that means he's like this, or that means he's like that means he supports this, he supports that. Very careful. Can you imagine if, one of the candidates went to an Antifa website? Why is he going to Antifa? Is he pro-Antifa? Is he anti-Antifa? Is he pro-BLM, anti-BLM? Oh, he went to white supremacist website. Why did he go there? Is he pro-white supremacy, or is he just going there to see what's going on? So if you're a public person, your internet usage will become a public forum, and people will know where you go. You gotta be very, very, very careful. And just to show you, for example, like when you look at my feed, and you go to my YouTube feed, you're going to see, music stuff. Here, I'll show you. You go to my YouTube feed, you're going to see political stuff. You're going to see Ben Shapiro, Steve Turley. You're going to see some conservative things. You're going to see Leonard Skinner, my musical. I love Leonard Skinner. I love watching that. You'll see some Saturday Night Live because I like watching Saturday Night Live clips. So, like, if you wanted to get a picture of what Professor Loft is, he likes the Allman Brothers. He also likes politics. He also likes comedy. So that's So in a sense, if somebody were building a profile of me, they would say, okay, he likes news. He's into conservative news. He's into humor. He's into music. Okay, he's this type of person. And then they'll sell that data, and all of a sudden I'll be getting ads popping up in my feed because they've created some sort of profile of myself, which is good and which is bad. It's kind of scary that people are kind of building this perception of you, but it's the reality out there. That's how marketing works. Today, marketing is on speed, literally. They're able to pick things up about you that nobody else would have had 10 or 15 or even 5 years ago. So put that in perspective. We move on to slide 22. Data from social media, user profiles and posts create both structured and unstructured data. For example, post responses to posts, emojis, images, videos, all paint a picture of the individual posting that. Provides insight into customer attitudes and interests. Analysis of with whom the user communicates allows marketers to understand individuals or groups with high levels of influence. And it's also very cool to look at the posts that people put. When you watch a YouTube video, you get to see how much engagement there is, whether it's pro or against, likes and dislikes. Data from the internet connected devices. Smart devices have sensors that allow for data collection. Maybe after the class we'll show a video we may have shown already, but it's worth showing again, how a person can be tracked through his cell phone. They provide an understanding of how customers use products and services. They understand the usage of maps, how to improve maps. They may help design future features and figure out features that are not being fully utilized. One of the things I find very cool is when you pass by a store, hey, do you recognize XYZ place? You want to post a comment. People like posting comments because they like to have a little bit of fame. Everybody wants to be famous. Now, what better way to be famous than to have your own post posted somewhere and have that post there in perpetuity? Identifying underutilized features may allow marketers to add value to customer experience, beef up a program, beef up an app, make it more interesting. Slide 24, data from mobile apps. Different customers use apps differently. Identify which app elements are most effective. Can help customers improve in-store shopping. Understand customers' response to prices. Gain insights into a blend of online and offline experiences. And identify cross-promotional opportunities, using a promotion in one area for one market segment in another one to see if there's any crossover, any benefit to that. Slide 25, data from commercial entities. Some companies like credit card companies and retailers collect big data and sell that to others. Data are aggregated or collected so an individual's purchasing pattern and history are not sold. And again, that's kind of scary, but you are being sold in a sense, not you personally, but your intellectual property aspect of you. Data from government agencies, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, census data. This is the year of the census. Census data is very, very important. And if you really want an interesting experience, go to the census website and look at the wealth of information available there. Marketing analytics, the set of methods facilitated by technology that utilize individual level and marketing level data to identify and communicate meaningful patterns within the data for the purpose of improving market-related decisions. For example, we mentioned this kind of in the video, how much information is proliferated. Google users input 4 million queries per minute. Okay? Facebook uses 2.5 million pieces of content per day. Google processes 20 million petabytes of data per day, which is 1 million gigabytes. That's insane. Those are insane numbers. And just to think of where Google started basically from a regular PC. Not regular, but a souped up, server type of device. Kind of scary where things started. Marketing analytical approaches continued. Slide 28. Approaches depend on the complexity of the analysis. A marketing analyst is an individual, highly skilled expert who may be required to basically filter down complex data. Types of marketing analytics, we'll talk about them in the next coming slide. They can be descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, or prescriptive. And let's get into this. So descriptive analytics uses data to provide summary insights. Just can you summarize this for me? A lot of times we get inundated with all this information and you just want somebody to tie it all up and give you a little snippet of information at the end to kind of tie things together. Raw data is transformed into measurements, often presented in visual format like histograms. Those are mathematical terms I'm not going to get into, or pie charts. I like pie charts. They're easy to read. Appropriate first step before more complex and expensive analysis. So it helps cut costs. It gives you a good baseline. Diagnostic analytical uses data to explore relationships between different marketing factors that influence the firm's performance. Examples: advertising frequency or placement that the firm can't control can influence sales. Diagnostic analytics uses linear regression. Again, that is all mathematical examples. How do the number of conversations in an online forum about a new TV show impact ratings? That would be an example of diagnostic analytics using linear regression, which is important. You want to know, especially the network. Network wants to know, do we cut the show? Do we sign it up for another year? Those are important factors to understand. Slide 31, predictive analytics uses data to make predictions about future marketing outcomes and interest. Definitely this is something important for presidential polls. And again, the presidential polls are, they're rigged. Many times they're not necessarily true in either camp. So I think the best way to predict the election is to actually go through the election and not predict it and see where the numbers take you. Because different polls look at different things. There's all kinds of funny stuff going on. The pool of people that they interview are one type. They don't represent a real population of people voting. So I don't believe any of those polls out there. I don't believe any of the ones that predict either one side to win. I'll make my prediction, and I'll be certain at the end when they announce who that winner is. Some use historical data to extrapolate into the future. Then those that look back at the past 10, 15, 20 years and try to be able to model the future after what has happened in the past. But you can't always rely on the past performance for future performance. Others make predictions between a set of factors and an outcome of influencing factors. Example, American Express looks at loyalty indicators to proactively contact potential at-risk customers who need a little bit of hand-holding. Slide 32, prescriptive analytics involves determining the optimal level of marketing relevant factors for a specific context by considering how adjusting their levels in varying ways will impact different marketing outcomes. Most advanced and costly draws on the other three approaches. What if questions allow the firm to evaluate the value of different decisions? What if this? What if that? If this, we change a variable over here, how's it going to change it over there? Very, very important for someone to be able to make a good, robust decision. Capabilities of marketing analytics continued. Slide 33. Marketing analytics that use big data can achieve deep customer insights. Marketers can deliver personalized experiences to the customer. Slide 34. The ability to understand the different effects of the 4 Ps have on different marketing outcomes. Big data provides insights into customer level data in large quantities not previously available. We have sentiment analysis, which allows better understanding of the unstructured data for the general attitude contained in the message, and to be able to extrapolate that touchy-feely, that underbelly, the things that are not necessarily captured in the numbers. And attribution pertains to how to give credit to different elements of the marketing mix. So advances in marketing and analytics have made it more feasible to maximize the value of unstructured data using methods such as we mentioned before, sentimental analysis, which is a type of analytic method that identifies the general attitudes, for example, positives, negatives, or neutrals, which are given to a certain activity or a certain response to something contained within a message, through an analysis of its content. Thus, the identified attitude is the structured data extracted from the unstructured data. So you basically are mining for structured data that can be used in a subsequent analysis. So you're basically gleaning one from the other, understanding, one thing from the other. A key consideration that arises when assessing the impact of the marketing mix is attribution, which can be thought of as determining how to give appropriate credit to different elements of the marketing mix through the measurement of their effects. In the digital context, it is generally straightforward to tie exposure to marketing mix elements online to desired outcome. For example, clicking the purchase button. What will that result in? What's the likelihood? How many people actually go through with the purchase? With this data alone, it might be possible to estimate in a quantifiable sense the impact of different online elements of the marketing mix. Which marketing mixes led to that click on the purchase, for example. Slide 35. Increased personalization is the ability to provide product, services, and customer experiences based on understanding the characteristics of different customers and of what they value, used by digital retailers and digital content providers. See, tonight's lesson is really, really modern day marketing. A lot of the stuff that we get exposed to, especially on our smartphones, we get a rich insight through this chapter. Recommendation systems, counterfeit filtering to looks at customers. Sorry, not counterfeit. That was a typo. I mean, not a typo, a misread. Content. I was reading the teleprompter incorrectly. Content filtering looks at a customer's past preferences to make new recommendations. That's what I mentioned before. When you have that algorithm that tells you, listen, based on your prior purchases, people like you would also purchase stuff like this. Collaborative filtering looks at similar customers and their preferences to make recommendations. So this predicts a customer's preferences for products or services based on the observed preferences of customers who are perceived to be similar. Determining which customers are similar is generally based on the analysis of data related to each customer's behaviors and preferences on the related website. Levels of granularity, in other words, getting down to a finer level of personalization. Personalization can be achieved at three possible levels of granularity, illustrated here: mass personalization, where everyone receives the same offering; segmented level personalization, in which groups of customers with similar preferences are identified and an offering is developed for each segment; and individual level personalization, in which each customer receives an offering customized to his or her specific tastes. It is often sensible to set the level of granularity of personalization for an element of the offering based on considerations of the cost and benefits. In other words, the more granular you get, the more money you have to spend. But then you have to say to yourself, spending that much more money, how many more customers am I going to gain by doing that? And what types of customers am I going to gain? Am I going to gain the kind of customers that are junk, the ones that are just going to call me up to talk to me, to schmooze me, or am I going to gain real good customers? So that's what levels of granularity and personalization is all about. Slide 38, marketing dashboard, as I mentioned before, is a comprehensive system providing managers with up-to-date, up-to-minute information necessary to run their operations, including data on actual sales versus forecasts, progress on marketing plan objectives, distribution channel effectiveness, sales force productivity, seeing who's selling, who's not selling, who needs to improve, who has fallen off track, who is barely making it, and of course brand equity, evolution, and so on. Slide 39, an effective dashboard is organic, not static. In other words, it gives you real-time data. It changes as the organization changes its goals. It's to give you some diagnostic and predictive insight and foresight. Slide 40, key benefits of marketing dashboard: alignment of marketing with the firm. A marketing dashboard aligns marketing objectives with the company's financial objectives and corporate strategy throughout the selection of critical metrics and sharing of those results. So it aligns it for you. Development of internal relationship with marketing. The marketing dashboard not only creates organizational alignment within marketing, in other words, it makes sure that all areas of the business align with marketing by linking all expenditures back to a smaller set of focus objectives. So from an accounting perspective, it's very good. It also clarifies the relationship between marketing and other organizational areas. It crystallizes roles and responsibilities to ensure everyone understands the inherent interdependencies of things. The result of this alignment fosters great job satisfaction within a culture of performance and success. establishment of direct links between marketing spending and profits. A dashboard uses graphical representation, so it's in your face, of crucial metrics in ways that begin to show often, for the first time, causal relationships between marketing initiatives and the financial results. How good were the financial results of that marketing initiative? Did we spend money correctly? Was it worth going and doing that marketing initiative? It portrays historical data in a fashion that makes it easier for any managers to grasp and understand the implications. The result is greater ability to make smart resource allocations and increase both the efficiency and effectiveness of marketing spending. Facilitation of smoother decision making, in other words, helps you make better and smoother decisions. A marketing dashboard fosters a learning organization whose members make decisions based on hard facts, not pontification, not on speculation, creativity, and experiential intuition, rather than as a result of battles based on pure subjectivity, which is dangerous. The real benefit of this evolution to a culture of everyone has the information is a dramatic reduction in time spent on highly politicized arguments, which not only greatly speeds decision making in an organization. If everyone has access to things, it's very hard to get political because everybody knows what's going on. Enhancement of marketing's ability to contribute. A dashboard creates transparency in marketing's goals, operations, and performance, creating stronger alliances between marketing and the rest of the firm. This elevates marketing's perceived accountability, earning greater trust and confidence for the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, the Chief Financial Officer, the board, and other key decision makers and influencers within the organization. Move on to slide 41. Elements of a marketing dashboard: goals and objectives, internal return on investment and resource allocation. How much do I give each project? Brand and customer asset evolution. At least equal to the short-term results and the longer-term evolution of the corporate asset entrusted to marketing. As you have learned, key marketing assets often include the brand and customer perceptions and relationship. The dashboard can provide a read of how the assets have been growing and how they are likely to progress and evolve. Skills, tools, diagnostic insights, predictive value, and efficiency and effectiveness are all elements of the marketing dashboard. Slide 42. Don't overly rely on inside-out measurement. In other words, over-reliance in an inside-out measurement, having too many internal measures, puts the focus on what you already know internally rather than what you need to see from the outside. Forgetting to market the dashboard internally. So too many total metrics, not enough strategic insight, because the focus of the past decade on holding marketing accountable for financial results, tactical or intermediary metrics have proliferated. Numerous books and articles provide list after list of calculations and ratios to assess all sorts of marketing programmatic results. Brand awareness, as mentioned, customer trial, lead conversion, in other words, lead to actually being converted to a customer. Although these are valuable and give tremendous insights, but it's critical that they do not overshadow measures of strategic importance to the firm. Forgetting to market the dashboard internally, in other words, not telling everybody about it, is stupid. Everybody in the organization needs to know about it. You don't hide a good thing. It's important to market the dashboard internally to key stakeholders, not just to marketers. You want the percentage of senior executives who both believe and understand what the dashboard is presenting to be very high. You don't want it to be a well-kept secret. You want everybody to know the importance of that marketing dashboard. Slide 43. As with any investment, the projected results, return minus cost, that's the results, must exceed a certain investment hurdle rate for a given level of risk, both defined by the firm. Hence, return on marketing investment represents either the revenue or the margin generated by marketing program. And it's how much money did that marketing program generate, divided by the cost of the program. So that'll tell you whether you spend too much or too little on it. Let's move on to the next slide. Slide 44. Calculations about over-reliance tempered the interpretation of Rami, which you mentioned before, the return on marketing. Rami was originally designed for comparing capital projects. Capital projects basically are like when a city wants to improve the infrastructure and build roads and stuff like that. It is no wonder that Rami is the metric du jour for many firms' marketing bottom line. Several offshoots of Rami have been developed that apply the same principles of return on customers, return on brands, return on promotion, These are all overall the trend in boardrooms and executive suites of expecting more quantification of marketing contributions has been a positive one. But remember that within the marketing dashboard concept, what organizations should be reviewing is an array of relevant metrics, not internal ones only, not external ones, but an array of both internal and external ones selected for inclusion on the dashboard, because together they paint a picture of the firm's performance. That's when we do a SWOT analysis on something. You look at strengths and weaknesses, which are internal, and then we look at the opportunities and threats, which are external, to paint a clear and holistic picture. Managers should always temper the interpretation of Rami results with review of other appropriate metrics. Common objectives of Rami. Typically, marketing expenditures are not treated as an investment in a company's accounting system, which is interesting. So, return on marketing requires the profit to be divided by expenditures, and those expenditures are the marketing expenditures. So you can actually see how marketing has influenced or made you money. Rami is maximized during the period when profits are still growing, which basically show you that it's worth investing more in advertising. Calculating Rami requires knowledge that would have happened if the incremental expenditures hadn't taken place. When executives discuss Rami with different metrics in mind, confusion results and the value of the metric degrades. So you have to have people in place that know what they're talking about. Rami by nature ignores the effect of the marketing asset of the firm and intends to lead managers towards a more short-term decision perspective. Oh, we're spending a lot of money, not realizing that money is being well spent for future endeavors. And finally, the last slide of tonight, proceed with caution. Marketers should embrace the opportunity to quantify their contributions as Rami and other marketing metrics will continue to proliferate. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Use a more holistic dashboard for goal-driven measurement reduces the downside of focusing on one or few metrics. Marketing is both a science and an art. Thank you for listening, and thank you.